Welcome everybody, and thanks for being with us today. Today's webinar is Goodbaby International Product Update, Winter 2021. And today's webinar is brought to you by State Farm and Safe Kids. Webinar objectives: identify contact information for Goodbaby International brands and key contacts, provide information on at least 3 new car seat models features, and discuss the importance of following manufacturer's instructions and guidance. And we are very, very honored again today to have with us Sarah Haverstick. Sarah serves as a safety advocate for Goodbaby International, which includes Evenflo, Cybex, GB, and Urbini car seat brands. And Sarah is currently celebrating her 14th year in child passenger safety as an instructor in safe transportation of children with special health care needs as well. And she was the former chair of the National Child Passenger Safety Board, as well as the MACPS for Child Passenger Safety, the vice chair of that. And so with that, Sarah, we are thrilled to have you with us today, and I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. I am so excited to be here. I think everybody that's heard me give these updates before has heard me say these are really my favorite presentations. I love the questions, so I've tried to plan a lot of time at the end. So please send in your questions because that's my favorite part of this fun. But really glad to be here and have a lot of fun things to share with you guys today. So I think you all know these are our 4 car seat brands. We're going to focus on Cybex and Evenflo today. If you ever run across GB or Urbini products and you have questions about them, please send them to me because we're happy to help. And you can also contact our customer service. They're happy to help as well. But we just don't have anything new to share from those brands. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, Brian Witt is on the line right now too. So he'll probably chime in during our Q&A portion. So you'll hear from him a little bit later. He is one of our engineers / project managers. And then I think a few of our product people are actually in the webinar also too. So shout out to any of our coworkers who are joining us today. We're happy to have them here too. So currently we have about 50 certified car seat technicians on our team. That went too far. All of our entire customer service team is certified. We've got a couple new people that are going through the class right now as we speak. We've got office locations in Ohio, North Carolina, and Massachusetts. And then we also have our manufacturing facility in Ohio. So we're kind of spread out all over the place. And we regularly host and hope to get back to this in a more regular way, but host car seat checks, cert courses, CEU events. You know, we really love giving our team the opportunity to do what you guys get to do every day out in the community. And since things are very virtual still these days, we do still offer one-on-one video installation appointments. We started this about 5 years ago with the Evenflo team. So it's something that our consumers really seem to appreciate and enjoy. We started it last year with the Cybex team as well. So if you're ever working with a consumer of one of our products, you can always direct them to that video support. It's free, it's fun. And if you've never actually tried a video appointment yourself, I'd encourage you to give it a try because it really is a neat way to connect with consumers if you're not able to connect with them in person. So I want to start with Evenflo because, as always, we've got all kinds of fun happening. First, for those that aren't as familiar with the Evenflo brand, we are really proud that most of our product line is actually made in the USA. And when we say made in the USA, we mean these car seats are designed, engineered, molded, crash tested, and assembled, all of that happening at our facility in Ohio. This is our current full lineup of made in the USA car seats. If you look really closely, you'll see some of the new ones we're going to talk about today. So I want to start with some really exciting news, and I want to set this up a little bit for you because it's fun for me. So I love when I get to come to you guys with really cool new products that have tons of innovation and lots of new features and really cool things to talk about, and that's fun. But at the other end, you know, there's a really important place in the work that we do and in the industry for seats and car seats in particular that are at lower price points, that meet families where their needs are, and that still do just as great a job protecting all of the kids that need protection in the vehicle. So I'm really excited about the products that we're going to share today, because they aren't the fully featured fun things to talk about with lots of new innovation. They're features that are really relevant to lots of consumers that need affordably priced products. And I think that's a really important thing that we can do. So I would like to, at this point, say goodbye to the rear adjust harness system. It is going away. The NutureMax will be out of production, or the existing Nurture will be out of production by the end of this year. I see lots of woohoos happening over here in the chat. I'm trying not to get distracted, but I knew people would be excited to hear this. So it's still in production right now, but will be done by the end of the year. So it's going to be replaced with a new seat called the NutureMax. So this is the updated version of the Nurture. You can see the specs are slightly different. So it's still maxing at 22 pounds, but we've started this version at 4 pounds. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that small infant fit in a minute. But y'all, I mean, I have to brag on our team for a minute, because this is a big deal. And this is an important product at an important price point to meet consumers' needs. But not only did we come in with a new seat that's no longer rear adjust, that is a front adjust harness system, it's at the same price point as the existing Nurture, and we've added in additional features too. So I'm really proud of the work that the team has done to bring this product into the field. So we've added in a push and go handle. So there's no triggers on the sides like you would normally expect, but you push down on the handle and then you're able to rotate it around. It has a full canopy. It is a super lightweight car seat. It importantly has that front adjust harness system. And then the design of the base, which we'll talk about in just a minute, incorporates this anti-rebound design. So this is the big excitement with it, you know, so long rear adjust fun. We are front adjust only. So that's what you see here in this image, that nice front adjust on that harness system. On the base, I mentioned it has this anti-rebound design. So you can see that it goes a little bit up higher above the seat back. It is not an adjustable base, but you can use towels or pool noodles if necessary. It has a nice open belt path for access. So it's a really easy installation in vehicle, comes equipped with standard lower anchors. Attaching to the base is a little bit similar to the current Nurture, but it's a slightly different design. There is a little hook on the front of the base. So you can see that the front of the base where the baby's, or the front of the carrier where the baby's feet would be, needs to slide in under that hook. So you kind of come in at a little bit of an angle and then drop it down into the base. There's plungers. So there is a, you know, thing that you can look for to know that this is correctly attached. So you can see the inside of that picture. The plungers will be visible when the carrier is appropriately attached to the base. So I mentioned we brought this one down to 4 pounds. So this is the Huggable Images preemie doll. It fits beautifully in this seat. On the image on the right, the close-up, you can see that that harness is sitting over that child's shoulders. It's rounding around the shoulders. So the shoulders of that preemie doll are just above that lowest harness height. We did do a few things. So when I put that preemie doll in the seat, I did adjust to the newborn buckle routing. So we are allowing that J routing for this product. The only difference with the J routing for this seat, as opposed to other seats we've done, is we've actually done away with the weight limit for it. So not the end of the world if that family that you've worked with forgets to reroute that belt the right way at a certain weight. This will no longer be a weight limited feature. Then we also have different waist routing. So it's going to ship in the outer positions. So it'll ship anchored in the outer positions. I think that's going to be completely fine for most infants, and you will never need to touch this. However, if you are working with a smaller, low birth weight infant, you do have the option to do what is shown here, which is the inner configuration. So you can bring those hip waist strap area in a little bit closer. It also shortens that harness just a little bit and then routes up and around, much like we do on the Lite Max, but there's only the two options here, inner or outer. There's two different handle positions that are available in the vehicle. You can use the upright carry handle position, or you can use position number 3, which is back behind the infant's head. Position number 2 is that intermediate position, and that is not for use in the vehicle. And I also chose this image to show you in particular because we have updated our line art drawing for this carrier only installation in video. Those that are familiar with our products have seen other versions of this image. So I just wanted to show you this updated version with that shoulder belt going across to the vehicle seat back. Here's some dimensions for you because I know my tech friends love some numbers. So at the widest point, which is on either side of the base, kind of underneath those handle hubs, is about 17.4 inches. The carrier only, the widest point is the handle hubs, and that's at about 17 inches. It's about 27 inches deep. And then I gave you those lowest, highest harness heights and the buckle positions. These are all approximates. This is, me measuring with a tape measure. So it's as, close as you're going to get as if you were ordering that too. As with all of our products, the cover for the NutureMax is fully machine washable. So you can take it out, pop it in the washer, delicate cycle, and then you can take it out of the wash and put it actually in the dryer, and you can tumble dry on low for 15 minutes. We have a big fashion lineup happening. The NutureMax is exclusive to Walmart, so you will only find it in Walmart and at walmart.com. So those are your available options. It is going to Canada also. And you guys are really getting a sneak peek of this because these products will be shipping later this year and then will be in stores around the January timeframe. So you guys get the first peek at all of this fun that is happening that we're sharing from the Even Flow side. We will have an institutional SKU for NutureMax. So you can, I think I saw some of those questions pop up too. You will be able to order a NutureMax, full NutureMax with both the carrier and the base as an institutional SKU. So for those that were used to ordering the Nurture, you will have that option. And then we will also still have the first choice, but now the first choice will have the NutureMax carrier. We're still going to call it the first choice because that differentiates that it comes without the base. But this is that option. So the same specs that you see over on the left, it still has the push and go handle. It does not come with the canopy. It comes in a 4-pack. So when you buy the first choice, you buy a pack of these seats. It is compatible with the NutureMax base. So that's important to know that if you are distributing these at your institution and if a consumer is interested in having a base for it, they could purchase that NutureMax base as an accessory and use that with this first choice. That's okay. The first choice, because it does not come with a base, does come with lower anchors. So you are able to install with lower anchors or the vehicle seatbelt. They come attached via a pouch on the side of the soft goods. All right, so switching gears, next new product, we have a new line of booster seats to share with you. So this is the GoTime LX, and you can see the specs on the left-hand side of the screen. This is a high back to backless booster option, so you have both of those available. There are 7 adjustable headrest positions, so you can raise that up. As you raise that headrest, those side wings also raise with it. That provides some overlapping head and body support, as you can see in the image. The soft goods are really nicely contoured, so they should be very comfortable, and there are 2 cup holders. When you're going from the high back to the backless transition, you can flip the seat over so that it's kind of facing down on the floor. And you can see there's a little lever that you can squeeze and just remove that high back portion. And then you have the backless portion ready to go. Some specs on this product for you. It's about 19.5 inches wide. That's at roughly the cup holder area is about the widest part there. The lowest belt guide position is at 14 inches. The tallest belt guide position for that shoulder belt is at about 19.5 inches. And the backless version does come with that shoulder belt clip also. So if you needed a shoulder belt clip, it comes for the backless option. So these are our options here. These are open lines. So these are going to be at multiple different retailers. You can see the US versions on the left. Again, this is an in-store placement in the January timeframe. Canada, you guys will be getting yours roughly around the same time period. So you'll be looking for this as well for the Canadian friends on the line. Then we have the GoTime Sport. So looks pretty similar. Specs on the left-hand side of the screen are all very similar. We're missing, some of the additional features that you saw in the headrest area of the GoTime LX. This version is exclusive to Walmart. So you can see all of the available fashions for this one. Again, only at Walmart and walmart.com, and same for Canada, although there is also an open line. So I'm not entirely sure which other retailers are picking this up in Canada, but it will also be at Walmart Canada as well. And then we have the backless version of GoTime. So if you just want a backless seat, there is just a backless only version. Again, same specs as it would have been with that high back version. Does come with that optional belt clip, does also have dual cup holders, also contoured soft goods. Like I said with NutureMax, all of these soft goods are removable, machine washable. You can throw them in the tumble dry or in the dryer on tumble dry. So lots of options there. And this is the lineup of fashions for the GoTime in the backless mode. There's that static fashion in the middle, looks a little weird, but it's one that is shared between the US and Canada. So you can find that on both sides of the border. And these are all open lines. So you'll find these at multiple different retailers. There is an institutional version of the GoTime as well. So you do have the high back to backless version of this that'll be on the institutional line. And for those on the line that aren't familiar with institutional, I'll just take a second to share what that means. We offer discounted pricing when you place bulk orders. If you're going to be doing, distribution of product at events, we use fabric that we call factory select. So that's where you see that fashion name down there. And that basically means whatever inventory of soft goods we have available, that's what we use. So I think the guarantee is that it'll be something gender neutral, but we can't tell you what color it's going to be in advance. So you just have some kind of gender neutral offering that you will get with that. I have a slide in a few minutes. So if there's questions about that, there's folks that you can get in touch with, and always you can reach out to me if you need anything about that. But the GoTime will come as a single pack for high back as an option for the institutional line. It'll come in a double pack as the high back, or it'll come in the 4-pack as the backless booster still, just like we do currently. All right. So that was lots of new stuff from the Even Flow side. And I can see there were lots of questions coming in. Oh, I just saw somebody comment on the space. The Astro fabric is my absolute favorite fashion I think we've ever done. So I'm really excited about that one in particular. But I have some other stuff. So let me share some of the other updates I have from the Even Flow side. If you have not heard me say this before, we've been talking about this for a few years. Our Lite Max line, so our other infant car seat line, is approved to be used lower than the stated limits on the product. So this is an infant car seat. It fits really small infants very well. It's something we work with a lot of hospitals on, doing infant fits to make sure we got the right height and weight range on this. So we can use it down to 3 pounds and 15.75 inches. This is the FAQ on our website. I am more than happy to customize a letter for your institution if you would like this information in print, if this is a seat that you use at your institution or you think you might come across it at some point. I've mentioned a few times now product cleaning. So we do allow for all of our soft goods, whether that's an institutional factory select seat or any of these retail seats that we've talked about. All of our soft goods can be machine washed. We say cold water, delicate cycle, use a mild or gentle detergent, and then you can remove them and stick them in the dryer for 10 to 15 minutes on low heat. We also, I noted the tip at the bottom too, and basically all of our product instructions, the care and cleaning info is near the back of the instruction manual. And on that page, generally, we also have this tip that says to protect the vehicle upholstery, you can place a towel beneath and behind the car seat. So we also have an Evenflo branded seat protector mat that is appropriate for use too, if you would like to use that, or we just allow you to place a towel underneath the car seat. But product cleaning is different than product disinfecting. And over the last 2 years now, we have gotten a lot of questions about product disinfecting. So we did a fair amount of testing over several months to determine what we were comfortable with you using as a disinfectant on the car seat. So we determined that 70% isopropyl alcohol is appropriate to spray or wipe on the surface. Isopropyl alcohol comes either in liquid form, like what you see on the screen, or it comes as little pre-moistened wet wipes. You can use either version. We don't want you to soak the surface of the product. We just want you to dampen that surface. And we tested every component. So you can do this on the fabric, on the harness, the buckle, the plastic, the foam, the labels, whatever one you want to use. We tested all of those pieces. The beauty of alcohol is that it evaporates very quickly. So once you dampen that surface, you just need to let it evaporate and then you can use the product. We do also have a new-ish medical waiver for kids with special needs. Stephanie mentioned I'm an instructor for the Safe Travel course. I came from a children's hospital. I've done a lot of work with kids with special needs, and I want to make it really clear. We are not a specialized child restraint manufacturer. We are a conventional child restraint manufacturer. However, we know that there's lots of situations where conventional seats work really well for kids with special needs, or they might work really well with maybe a tweak, or maybe the child is just a little bit over the standing height limit. We're really happy to have a discussion with you. I can't promise that we would approve every situation that is put in front of us, but we are happy to meet you where your needs are. We just want to be a partner with you in the field. So if you're ever working with a child with special needs and you have some questions, or you think there's something that might work for them and you want to, chat with us about it, we're really happy to help. You can just send me an email. I'll ask for lots of details. I'll ask for lots of pictures. We may even, depending on the complexity, want to get on a video chat with you to discuss in further detail. But we've worked with a number of different hospitals at this point with a lot of success helping get some kids, especially in some of these temporary type situations, into something that's going to be more supportive and appropriate for them. Here's the institutional sales slide. I knew it was coming up at some point. If you have questions about the institutional sales, both of those products we talked about today, the GoTime and the NutureMax, are all products that will be prominently featured in our institutional sales program. You can always check in with Patsy and Eve at the email address on screen. They are more than happy to get you, pricing, product details, etc. I should have given them a heads up, and I forgot to give them a heads up that I was doing this today. So they might not have pricing on these products quite yet, but I expect that they would have it available for you very soon. We also have our advocate website, safetymadeeasier.com. The nice thing about the advocate website, it was designed really just for you guys with, the thought in mind that what information might be useful to you while working curbside with a family. But we've also provided CEUs for you on this website. So you can create a profile and log in, and then you can access CEUs, which you can do just like any other CEUs that are online. You watch the recording and you take a quick little quiz. So hopefully next year, my goal is to add some new content to the CEU website as well. But this gives you some options if you're in need of some additional presentations. Also, you'll know like some of these product updates are a little bit older, but we've listed out which products are really prominently featured. The Evenflo product line is huge. So I can't possibly go to any of these product updates and tell you about all of our products at one time. So this gives you kind of a way to go back. And if you specifically have a question about, the Lite Max infant seat, you can see that some of these we've talked more specifically about the Lite Max seat. And then you can go back and watch those and get some additional information. All right, so that is my Evenflo fun. I think we're still pretty good on time. So I'm going to switch over to Cybex for just a minute to share what we have going on with that brand. Cybex, if you aren't as familiar with, is primarily based out of Europe, and that's where that brand heritage really comes from. And one of the things that Cybex really focuses on is this idea of safety, design, and function. That's really what their design principle looks like and what they're looking at when they are manufacturing new products out in the field. So we have a few new booster seats. So I wanted to really focus today on our new booster options for Cybex. Little teaser, we'll have some new stuff next year. So I already have a new date scheduled with Stephanie for next year, and you'll get to hear more about some additional new products from Cybex. But for today, we're going to focus on our booster seat lineup. So this is the Solution B-Fix booster. You can see on the left-hand side where I include the product specs, this is only a high back booster. So Cybex boosters are always high back only. You may not use them as a backless booster, and that's important to remember. You can take that back off, so that's why I try to say that very clearly. It has to be used as a high back booster, and we say that multiple times in product instructions. This booster features a 12-position adjustable headrest. It has Cybex's linear side impact protection system, which is incorporated into those side wings you see on the product. There are lower anchor attachments. So these are hook style lower anchors. And we do have one cup holder on this version. This is the Cybex Solution B2 Fix plus Luxe booster. So the stats over on the left are the same. And the thing I didn't mention before, other than the fact that these are high back only, you'll note that the upper height range is a little bit taller for these boosters. So 4'9" tall is 57 inches. Most booster seats max out at the 57 inches, and 57 inches, you know, isn't a perfect number, but it's a pretty good number for when a child might be ready to fit in the adult seatbelt without that booster seat. But for some kids, you know, if they've got a shorter torso, longer legs, they might need a few more inches before they can actually get to that point where they sit in the seatbelt the right way. So we take these boosters up to 60 inches. So it gives you a few more inches to work with, so that hopefully you can get that child the boost that they need until they can appropriately fit the seatbelt. This obviously looks very similar to the B-Fix, so it just adds in a few new features. It still has that 12-position adjustable headrest, but now it incorporates our 3-position reclining headrest. The point behind that 3-position reclining headrest is that especially if the child is prone to sleeping in the vehicle, you're able to recline the headrest, which puts their head a little bit further back and kind of tilts their chin up so that their eyes are looking up. If a child can fall asleep with their head back and their eyes up, it's more likely that they're going to be able to keep their torso upright. And at the end of the day, we all know the most important part of that booster is that we have the lap and shoulder belt properly positioned on the child. So keeping the head up, keeping the torso up is more likely to keep that lap and shoulder belt in the appropriate position for them during travel, even when they're asleep. This seat also features LSP, but you can see it's in these pods on the side of those side wings. And then we have rigid lower anchor attachments. So no flexible webbing there. We've got the rigid anchor connectors, and we've got dual cup holders. And finally, I threw this one in because we have a little bit more time in this presentation. This is the Solution Z-Fix. We launched this one a couple years ago, so it's a little bit older than those B-Fix boosters we looked at. The weight limit you can see is just a little bit lower, but the height limit is still up at 60 inches. And the big difference here is that with this booster, you can see the side wings look very different. As you raise that backrest up, so you're raising up that headrest to make it taller for the child, the side wings also go up with the headrest and they grow out, because most kids aren't just skinny string beans. They're growing tall and a little bit wider in the shoulder at the same time. So this grows up and out with the child. It also has rigid lower anchor attachments. It also has the LSP in the form of those pods on the side wings, and it's 12 positions for that adjustable height. Okay, a few additional details for the boosters. They all have 8-year expirations from the date of manufacture. For all of them, we do not allow any overhang from the vehicle seat. So that's both in the sides and in the front, as you see in this image. And the latch, while all of them have a latch system, they do not require it. So you can always stow the rigid latch or those flexible anchors. You don't have to have them attached, but remember, you know, that helps with preventing this booster seat from being a projectile when it is not occupied. So if you can use it, great. If you're in a seating position that doesn't have latch, it's not the end of the world. You can always stow that. Some additional measurements here for you across all of the boosters. I've got the width at the widest point, which for all of them is that side wing area. You'll see obviously the B2 fix is a little bit wider because it's got those pods. I am working on an FAQ. You could remove one of those. So if you had this installed behind the driver's seat, but you needed to fit another car seat right next to it, we would want you to keep the side to the vehicle door. So the one on the left of that booster behind, going to the vehicle door behind the driver. But if you wanted to take the other pod off to give yourself just a little bit more space, that is okay. So I'm working on an FAQ that you'll find on our website with that information. The Solution Z-Fix, that width, obviously, I said it grows up and grows out. So that's why you see the difference in the width there. At the lowest point, it's just about almost 21 inches. And at the widest point, it's about 24 and a half. And then the tallest belt guide position across the board is at 22 inches. We've got just some details here. What I want to point out, I don't talk a lot about price point for this because, I try to keep things to technical information. But at the bottom, you can see the suggested retail prices. And as each of these boosters steps up in features, it obviously steps up in price as well. So I wanted to share a quick update on Eternus S. This is our all-in-one car seat for Cybex. You can see all of the specs on the left-hand side of the screen. So we're going 4 to 50 pounds. This is meant for an extended rear-facing option. You can see the forward-facing up to 65 pounds, and then we have the high-back booster option for this as well. This seat also features that reclining headrest that we talked about. So the child could use that in the forward-facing and the high-back booster modes. It's got a 12-position adjustable headrest, also has the LSP incorporated, has a steel reinforced frame, just a lot of really cool things going on with this. But I wanted to share an update to this for you. So for those that have worked with this product before, we've made an update to the forward-facing lock-off. So the current design is over here on the left. And you remember, if you've used this before, you're going to slide the shoulder belts into the lock off. And I always told people you kind of had to, floss it up there. So you're going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You'll get the belt in so that it engages in those teeth and it's locked in that belt guide lock off area. So we've updated that design on the forward-facing version. And what you see now in the center of the screen is what is currently on product. It's a little door. So you're going to open the door, and you can see the door open in the far right picture. It's a little bit dark. Apologies for that. But you're going to open that door. You're going to then route your vehicle seatbelt. You're going to tighten the seatbelt first. So that's a little bit different than the way that we described it with the previous version of this. You're going to tighten that lap shoulder belt. You're going to place that shoulder belt on the retractor side inside that door, and then you're going to close the door. Now, importantly, this is a device that is, positioning the seatbelt, holding the seatbelt in an area where we want it to be engaged with that car seat during the crash. This is not truly a lock off. So you do need to go ahead and lock your vehicle seatbelt after doing this part of the installation. And this is just a question that I seem to get a lot from the Sirona S, so I wanted to throw it in now that we've covered all of the product info for Cybex. The question I get is over here on the left-hand side. If you're looking at this load leg and you're kind of looking at that angle, especially relative to the floor, it kind of looks a little wonky and looks like it might maybe be overextended. I get that question frequently. And it's really relative to the way that this car seat is designed in comparison to where we're typically seeing load legs, which is on infant car seat bases. This base design on this convertible car seat, and you can see here it's installed forward facing, we don't have a foot, an adjustable foot that is changing the positioning of that car seat on the base. We do all of that adjustment in the seating area itself. So for that reason, when the Sirona S sits on a vehicle seat, it's kind of dependent on the slope of the vehicle seat. The area that you should be looking at is not where the load leg hits the floor, but where the load leg comes up and makes connection with that base. And that angle is roughly 90 degrees. And additionally, we give you some guidance on the top of that load leg with a red to green indicator that shares when you are in the correct locked forward position with this product. So I think that's important to know. People look at it and they say, oof, that doesn't look right. We give you that indicator on top. So trust the indicator on top and know that that 90 degrees that you think you're looking for is really up in that area where that leg connects to the base itself. All right, I am almost done with content, but I wanted to share an update that goes across both of the brands and is related to our sensor safe technology. So many of you have probably worked with sensor safe before. I think I've lost track. We've had it out in the market for maybe 6 years now. It's on both Evenflo Gold and Cybex products, so you can find it on multiple products, but we've made a big change. So we're moving into what we call Sensor Safe 3.0 internally. And you're going to start to see this rolling out into the field. The first product that carried this was the Sirona S, actually in Canada. It's not often that Canada gets the first of anything, but they got the first version of this Sensor Safe 3.0 up there. And for existing product, you're going to see it rolling out as we deplete current existing inventory. So the big change that we made is that we no longer have the receiver plug that goes into the vehicle. We are just going to communicate via the chest clip and the app on the consumer's phone. So we're making a direct connection just to the app. And we did a lot of testing out in the real world with a lot of consumers, and we had some technicians participating. We had a lot of folks testing this, and we found that this direct connection really gave more accurate responses. And additionally, it means we're compatible with any vehicle. Previous to this, we had to say 2008 or newer. We also had limitations around some vehicles that didn't even have OBD2 ports. So we needed to figure out some other workarounds, and our team worked really hard to minimize those vehicle disruptions, but it was difficult. So now we're able to just communicate with the app. The current version, so the two chest clips look a little bit different. I don't expect you to memorize what they look like. I'm going to tell you about some differences that are hopefully going to be helpful to you. On the left, our current one is a single color LED light. So it does blink when you've connected that chest clip. On the new version, it's going to be a 2-color LED light. And that 2-color blinks red when you are not connected to the app as a reminder to make sure your app is open and functioning, and then blue once you do have connection to the app. The other thing, if you're like, eek, I don't know if this is new, if this is old, what's going on? Should I have a receiver plug? Am I missing the thing for the vehicle? When you open that chest clip, we've embossed S3 on the inside of the new chest clips. So if you see anything embossed in this area, then you'll know this is one of the newer chest clips. All right, that's all my product stuff. I'm just going to quick go over some technical FAQs because we get these questions all the time. So have your questions ready. Lower anchor latch borrowing, we do allow the use of lower anchor bars in the outboards or the center seat position using the inner bars of the outboard lower anchor positions. I've lost control of being able to talk at this point. You can do that latch borrowing in the center seat. However, those bars must be spaced 11 to 20 inches. So 11 inches is standard spacing. We cannot go farther than 20 inches. And obviously this is only if the vehicle manufacturer also allows this. Overhang, we get lots of questions about car seat overhang. Most of our products across both of the product lines, Evenflo and Cybex, do allow and follow the 80-20 guidance from the CPST curriculum. So most do allow some overhang. There are some specific exceptions from Evenflo in rear-facing mode. These are noted in the latch manual. I'm noting them here. They're in an FAQ. They are in all of these affected product instructions. So you can find that information pretty clearly. Otherwise, we do follow the 80-20. On the Cybex side, again, most of our products follow the 80-20. The exception, as I noted earlier, we cannot have any overhang with the booster seats. Infant seats, if you aren't using the load leg, we want to have 100% of that infant car seat supported by the vehicle seat. And infant seats, when you're installing without the base, we want 100% of that infant seat supported. And then Sirona S, which I called out in this image over on the right, you don't have to use the load leg with Sirona S. So this is our convertible car seat that rotates around 360 degrees. It does have a load leg. You can use that load leg rear facing and forward facing. But if you choose not to use the load leg, we do provide an overhang indicator. And that's what you see up here in the top right. So you must have that base supported up until that little triangle. Inflatable seat belts, our positions here haven't changed. You cannot use inflatable belts with any of our harness car seats for either of the brands. Our recommendation is to go to a non-inflatable seatbelt seating position. Usually the center seats of those vehicles have a standard belt system, or to use lower anchors if the child is within those weight limits. On the booster seat side, we will allow even flow seats to be used with an inflatable seatbelt in booster mode. However, for Cybex, even in booster mode, it is not allowed with an inflatable belt. And my favorite questions, roll towels and pool noodles. We do allow both of them unless otherwise noted. These are allowed. We often in product instructions for even flow in particular say to use a rolled towel, but you can substitute that for a pool noodle. That is completely acceptable for us. We just include towel because we feel like that's more accessible to all consumers, but certainly you could use that noodle instead. If you're working with an infant car seat with a base, we want you to use the reclined foot on the base if it's available. NutureMax being an example of a product that does not have a reclined foot. So if you do need a pool noodle at that point, with NutureMax, you can just use it. With an infant seat that has an adjustable base, we want you to stop using the adjustment foot. So stow that reclined foot all the way so it's flat again, and then add in your towels or your pool noodles, whichever you're using. Okay, I think I got through all of that content. So I just wanted to say a big thanks. The last time I gave this product update, I was like a week away from having a bone marrow stem cell transplant. It's been a crazy year plus for me, but I'm telling you, the people in this industry are just the best and the greatest. And I can't say enough about how much love and support and how much I appreciate just everybody around. You guys are fabulous. I'm feeling really good and doing pretty well thanks to all of your super fabulous wishes. So thank you. I do have a giveaway to announce. So we will be giving away 3 car seats. The way we're going to do this giveaway this time around, because our new seats aren't going to be available until January. So we didn't want to make anybody have to wait until we actually had production seats in January. So we're going to give you a choice. So winner's choice. You can either choose an every stage DLX or you can choose a LiteMax DLX. That LiteMax is the version that comes with the load leg. So, you know, you're welcome to use this for personal use. You're welcome to use it for your program. We wanted to give you the opportunity to choose whatever makes the most sense for your situation. This is open to US and Canadian residents. So Canada friends, you're in on this too. We will announce the winners. The Safe Kids will announce the winners this afternoon, and then Stephanie will get me information. So you'll hear from me and you can choose your fashion and all that stuff. So wanted to do something a little bit different this time around. This is my contact information. We have tech discounts for both of the brands. So we are super happy to get you that info. Just send me an email with your certification card and I'm happy to get you that. Again, Patsy and Eve's info is here. I'm going to leave this screen up for a little bit while we do the Q&A. So that way you can take a screenshot, do what you need to do if you don't already have our contact info. So Whit, I know we have questions because I've seen them. Ask some questions. Let's go.
I'm trying to go in like the order of like what I think's most interesting or what the most people asked. Is the current Big Kid amp seat going to continue to be a thing?
It will not. So it will also be out of production, likely around that December timeframe too. So around the time that Nurture is no longer in production, Big Kid will also be out of production. Both of these seats, NutureMax and GoTime, are replacing those existing models.
All right. What about SpicaCast and Sonos seats? I answered this question a couple times that was a perfect example for when to send in your medical waiver request form. And people were also asking about if they could get or use a longer harness. And I think the answer is both medical waiver form. But what do you think?
Okay. So a few things with that. I do have a letter. So if you are working with a kid in a Spica cast and you are using one of our products and the child fits perfectly and is within the weight limit and has no gap behind them and everything is good, then I can give you a letter if you would just like a letter that says you are totally fine to use any of our products without adding anything to them, using it as is with all of the details from product instructions, etc. So we can send you a letter just saying you can use it with a Spica cast. If you are working with a child in a Spica cast and you are having an issue with fit and you feel like there is a gap and that you do maybe need some help and you want to have some discussion about maybe some options, that is the perfect time to contact me, to send some pictures, to share what's going on, and then we can see what options we do have available. Now, keeping in mind, because I came from a children's hospital and I know a lot of these kids come in as trauma patients and they go out pretty quickly after surgery. It can take us a little bit of time, you know, depending on what the situation is. We may need to spend a little bit more time looking at pictures, asking questions, figuring things out. So the sooner you can contact me to chat about it, the better.
That was good. The next one I got was related to cup holders on GoTime, if they're required. And the answer is yes, I guess they're required, but they're also like part of the seat and not removable. So I don't know if that makes I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for or not.
That was what I was going to say. I do not believe they can be removed from the product. So they are there and they are where they are and you can't really do much about them. So you don't have to worry about doing anything to them, but they are going to be there.
What about Euro routing on the new Nurture? I know there's no like special clip back there, but I don't know if it's something that we allow, if it just works the way it is on LiteMax, I believe does.
At this point, I showed the image before of just the standard routing. At this point, we are only doing standard routing on NutureMax. That may change in future versions of product instructions. So it's something that we are discussing, but at this point, we are only doing the standard baseless routing.
And your hospital waiver form for 3-pound kiddos is only for LiteMax, and at this time is not for Nurture as well, right?
Yes, correct. So LiteMax only at 3 pounds and 15.75, only the LiteMax series. And there's a lot of different versions and SKUs of LiteMax, but any LiteMax is appropriate, not NutureMax. NutureMax is 4 pounds and 17 inches at the lowest.
What about the gap between the back of the GoTime booster and the vehicle seat? Will that be the similar situation as what we have on Big Kid?
So generally, for boosters, it's harder to answer the gap question. Usually what I ask, and we have a FAQ up on the website that talks about a gap behind a forward-facing installation, and we're generally fine with that as long as you get a tight installation. But that's a harnessed installation. For boosters, I usually ask for an image. There's a little bit more going on with the booster. You know, we just want to make sure things do look okay. So it's not a hard no that you can't have a gap, but I think that's one where pictures are beneficial.
And you might have a better idea, like seeing two of them side by side. Do you have a better idea than I do of the size of the GoTime versus the size of the current Big Kid, as far as people are concerned about will it fit here or there the way the Big Kid does?
It's pretty similar. Totally different seat, completely, you know, ground up design on the GoTime. But in terms of like the height, it's roughly similar to what Big Kid was. Width may be a little bit wider. You know, it's got more bulk in those side wings, but I don't think it makes it that much wider than what the Big Kid was either.
It sits upright better and it doesn't fall over every time you look at it when it's sitting on, like, you know, the floor in the middle of a class. What about Nurture? Will the new Nurture be compatible with a stroller?
That's really a WIC question.
It really is a WIC question.
The plan right now, we cannot say that it has any stroller compatibility. However, that has been top of mind for the team throughout this project. That is something that WIT is working on right now. So we we can't say it yet, but I expect that we might have a definitive in the next several months around the time that it's actually launching. So
there's a pretty good chance that the new Nurture will work with a new stroller at Walmart in, say, the first quarter of next year.
So the benefit there is the existing Nurture really doesn't fit with any of our strollers. So if you were distributing that in like a hospital situation and the family wanted to be able to use a travel system, it was kind of a bummer. So that's where this has been a focus for the team to make sure it could actually work with a travel system. So hopefully more details to come. And certainly if you purchase the product for institutional, follow up with Patsini. We'll make sure they have the info when it's available too.
Is the sensor safe a Bluetooth connection? I believe it is.
Yes.
And if you go out of Bluetooth range, do you get some sort of warning, or what happens then?
Yes. So the thing that happens with sensor safe, so that it does a few things. It's monitoring the temperature, like ambient air temperature around that chest clip. So it'll give you some temperature warnings. It'll alert you how long the child has been seated in the seat to remind you on like a long road trip that you should get up and stretch. It will let you know if the child unbuckles the chest clip. So it'll give you that alert in real time if there's something going on in the back seat that you need to know about. And then it will alert you if the child is unintentionally left behind. So that's where that Bluetooth connection comes in. If you walk away from the vehicle and break Bluetooth connection, you will get an alert via the app to say, hey, you're no longer connected and we think this child is still clipped into the car seat here. If you dismiss that, after a certain amount of time, it's going to go out to your emergency contacts. So inside the app, you can set up some emergency contacts, or family members, we call them, and you would get an alert sent out to them with your last known GPS location and the fact that we think there's a child that's still buckled in the seat in that location.
I just saw a question like 1 second ago, is if sensor safe is compatible with only these two brands, and
Correct.
the short answer there is basically yes, because it's part of the chest clip. It's part of the whole crash test qualification. It's not something you can just slap on any old, an Urbini seat or a, who knows who other competitor seat.
Right, exactly. It's something you can only use with our products when it comes on the product.
I'm going to try and paraphrase a question here, and I'm probably going to screw it up. But what I think this person is asking is, how do you weigh or talk to consumers about the benefits of a load leg versus what they think the benefits of a rear center seating position, where often that load leg doesn't fit?
Yeah, so we, number one, have made updates in design to our load legs to better fit that center seating position. So most of our newer load legs have 3 segments, and in the shortest segment, we did specifically look at those center seat floor humps to make sure we could get that load leg positioned in there. So I think you'll see across the board, and really I would say probably for most brands across the board, some improvements in the length of that load leg to better fit that center seating position. For me personally, we can never tell a consumer to do one thing or another thing. And, the parent always has to make that decision about how they want to transport their child. But when you're weighing the pros and cons, obviously the center seat, great. You're furthest away from any point of impact. There's certainly some benefit there. And especially if it's the only child you have to put back there, sure, you can, fit them in the center seat, no problem. But if you have a product that has a load leg that you aren't able to use in the center, I think there's a lot of benefit to what that load leg is offering in terms of frontal crash energy management in particular. So for me, my decision would be go outboard and use that load leg, but I can't force that decision on anybody else. So I think it's just a matter of weighing those pros and cons and explaining to the family those benefits of that load leg, that it's really limiting how much that car seat can move and closely coupling that car seat to the vehicle. And the closer you can couple that car seat to that vehicle seating environment, the better it is for the overall ride down and the crash.
What about car seat use in ambulances? Do we have anything special or different that we say different than sort of like CPS curriculum or general things?
Follow the CPS curriculum. There's some additional training from Riley Children's Hospital on the use of child restraints in ambulances and for first responders. So you can look into that if that's an area that is really relevant to your line of work. That's definitely worth checking out. You could certainly use our products if needed, but it's one of those, like, essentially you're using them off label at that point too. So there's only so much I can say, yes, you can use this. I would certainly guide you to looking through the recommended best practices from an organization and from that curriculum that Riley does have available to help guide you in your decision-making process there.
What about tech discount things? How does that process work?
So tech discounts, you just send me an email with a copy of your certification card, and I'm happy to send you details. For Evenflow, it's easy because we give you a discount code for the website. The Cybex side is a little bit more complicated because we're giving you a different type of discount, and it's not one we can just process on the website. So I do have to then give you an order form and give you direct pricing information. So if you are interested in a Cybex product, knowing which model you're interested in is helpful in that email too. So if you tell me which Cybex seat you want or which brand you're interested in up front, all of that is super easy. And, I try to get through those pretty quickly so that you get the information as fast as you need it. I think we have 2 more minutes, Whit.
Trying to find anything else that I didn't write down. Oh, what about a pool noodle? Do those have to be solid pool noodles, or can they be the holy pool noodles?
It can be a holy pool noodle. We do not specify.
I didn't think so, but I wasn't really sure.
I have a question in front of me that I can see. Andrea asked about the lockoff for rear-facing Eternus. It's just like the lockoff for forward-facing. Neither one of them are true lockoffs. You do have to have a locked vehicle seatbelt for the installation.
And somebody else asked about the fit of the every kid, every fit, where that's been kind of a pain rear facing to maintain that recline angle. And there's some updated instructions. For a while we were putting a drop-in in the box on how to use 2 different towels or how to kind of maximize or minimize that problem.
Yeah, if you have questions about that, I'm happy to send you the insert that Whit's talking about that we did as a drop-in. It's currently in new product instructions, so you'll see that in current product instructions. But basically, you can use a rolled towel in a slightly different way. So rather than putting it under the recline foot to further recline the product, you can put that rolled towel above the recline foot, kind of filling in the gap between the recline foot and the rest of that seating surface. And it gives more surface area for that car seat to kind of grab into and seems to help prevent any over rotation. But we have a insert that I'm happy to send you. So if you want to shoot me an email about that, I can get that over to you.
Sarah, any last words that you would like to throw out there for us all?
Just a happy National Injury Prevention Day, and a big thanks to everybody on the line for everything that you guys do out in the field. Please keep sending us, notes, good, bad, indifferent. It's always great to hear from technicians, and we really do try to take your feedback and comments back to the product teams and try to improve our product.